Hello, welcome to Aggregate e-learning series, an academic empowerment program developed by Aggregate Education Center, Abuja. Our subject is mathematics, and we'll be discussing solution of quadratic equation using the formula method. My name is Chukwudi Ani. In this class, we'll learn the formula for solving quadratic equations. Also learn how to determine the values of the constants a, b, and c in disguised equations. We'll also learn how to use the formula method to solve quadratic equations. And finally, we'll give you an assignment to test your understanding of the topic. The quadratic formula. Given a quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Here, the coefficient of x squared is a, the coefficient of bx is b, and c is a constant, all equal to 0. Remember that this is the form of standard quadratic equation where a, b, and c are constants. This time we want to get a relation, a formula that we will use to solve quadratic equations. Recall that the last time we discussed solution by factorization method, and we informed you that not all quadratic equations can be easily factorized. Hence the need for that analysis, product sum analysis, just to confirm whether you should go ahead with factorization method. Otherwise, then there is now need to use completing the square method or formula method to solve it. Then do well to recall that another way of solving quadratic equation is the graphical method. Okay, the root of the quadratic equation is determined using the quadratic formula. X is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, all over 2a, where a, b, and c are constants. In this relation, the objective here is to determine the values of a, b, and c and substitute them in the equation to get the values of x that satisfy the equation. So let's take this first one, for instance. Given ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, we have the constants to be a as the coefficient of x squared, b as the coefficient of x, and c as the constant. But we have this relation that x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, all over 2a. Okay, so this is the formula that we derived last time using completing the square method. Now this means that x has two values. First value of x, we now say x is equal to minus b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac, all over 2a. Or x is equal to minus b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So these are the values of x that satisfy the equation ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So this tells us that on solving this, we'll get two solutions depending on what we call the nature of the roots. So we'll talk further in another topic, the nature of roots, where we'll look at the content of the square root, b squared minus 4ac, depending on whether it is greater than 0, whether it's equal to 0, or whether it is less than 0. It means different things. So but we'll discuss that further in another topic. But do well to note that it is called discriminant. Okay, so let's now go over to a solution of a few examples. Okay, so given 2x squared plus 3x minus 2 equal to 0, and we are asked to solve this using formula method. Here the constant a is equal to 2, b is equal to 3, that is, this is a, this is b, and this is c. Then c is equal to minus 2. But we have the relation that x is equal to, remember that, minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over what? 2a. Substituting the values of the constants in the relation, then we get that x is equal to minus b is minus 3 plus or minus b squared is 3 squared minus 4 times a, and a is 2, so we have 2 in brackets, multiplied by c, and c is minus 2, bracket closes, then all over 2a, and 2 and a is 2. So okay, then simplifying this further, we have minus 3 plus or minus square root of 3 squared is 9, then multiplying this, minus 4 times 2 is minus 8, then minus 8 times minus 2 is plus 16. Do well to know the sign. Then all divided by 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, moving over to the next page. Here we have that x is minus 3 plus or minus square root of 9 plus 16 over 4. Then this gives us what? Minus 3 plus or minus square root of, simplifying further what is in the determinant, we have 9 plus 16 is 25 all over 4. Then this gives us minus 3 plus or minus square root of 25 is 5 all over 4. Therefore x is equal to minus 3 plus 5 all over 4, or x is equal to minus 3 minus 5 all over 4. Simplifying either of them, further we have minus 3 plus 5 is 2. How do we get this? You use the bigger number plus 5 to subtract the smaller number 3, and it gives us what? 2, positive 2 all over 4, and this is what? 1 over 2. Or x is equal to minus 3 minus 5 gives us minus minus, you add, but remember to put minus before your answer, so minus 8 all over 4. This gives us what? Minus 2. When this cancels, then we get 2, so minus 2. Therefore, the values of x that satisfy the equation is 1 over 2 or minus 2. The answer. Example number 2. Given x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. To solve this using the formula method, we need to identify the constants. So the coefficient of x squared, which is a, here is what? 1. A is 1. The coefficient of x here is 5. Therefore, b is 5. Then the constant is 6. C is 6. But we have the relation, that formula, x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. Remember, this is the discriminant, all over 2a. So plug in the values of the constants here. Therefore, x is equal to minus b is minus 5 plus or minus square root of 5 squared minus 4. A is 1 here, then c is 6 here, then all over 2a, and a is 1 here. So it's always better you plug in the values. It helps you to avoid making mistakes, and if you've made some mistakes, it helps you to be able to identify them easily and correct them. Okay, moving further, we have the value as minus 5 plus or minus square root of 5 squared is 25 minus 4 times 1 is 4, then times 4 again, 24, all over 2. Flipping over to the other side, we have that x is equal to minus 5 plus or minus square root of 25 minus 24 all over 2. Then simplifying this further, we have minus 5 plus or minus square root of, solving what is inside the bracket, the discriminant further, we have 25 minus 24, which is 1, all over 2 is equal to minus 5 plus or minus square root of 1 is 1 all over 2. Therefore, x is equal to minus 5 plus 1 over 2, or x is equal to minus 5 minus 1 over 2. Remember, we said that the plus or minus sign is as a result of the square root, and that gives rise to the two values of x that we get depending on the nature of the discriminant. We'll discuss discriminants in a later video. So here, the one value of x goes with the plus, and another value of x goes with minus. That's why we have minus 5 plus 1 over 2 and minus 5 minus 1 over 2. Simplifying either of them further, we have minus 5 plus 1. We use the bigger number. When we have this difference, we use the bigger number to subtract the smaller number. That gives us 4. And the sign of the bigger number, minus, all over 2. Then this gives us minus 5 minus 1 is minus 6 over 2. Simplifying this further, this one gives minus 4 over 2. This can go for this, we'll get 2, so minus 2. Then this can go for 6, we have 3, so this gives us minus 3. Okay, therefore the roots of the quadratic equation x is equal to minus 2 or minus 3. Okay, coming over to equation number 3, we'll take the solution to another level. Here we are given x into x minus 1 is equal to 3. Here you need to note something. The standard form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. But if you look at this, you will discover that it's not of that form. So we need to do something to make it to be of this form before we will now be able to determine the values of a, b, and c. So when we have an equation, quadratic equation like this, we say that it is in this guise. Okay, so we shoot on. So here we know what to do. X into x minus 1. So opening the bracket, we have x times x, x squared. Then x times minus 1 minus x is equal to what? 3. Then this gives us x squared minus x. Then this 3 that is by the left hand side, we need to do something to make it to come over to this side. So crossing over the sign of equality, it becomes minus 3 is equal to 0. Now it is now in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Now we get the constants, the values of a, b, and c. Here a is the coefficient of x squared, here is 1. B, the coefficient of x here. So continuing with this, we have minus into minus 1 gives us plus 1. So 1 plus or minus square root minus 1 squared is minus 1 times minus 1, which gives us 1. Then we have minus 4 times 1. This gives us minus 4. Then times minus 3. This gives us the minus times minus will give us plus. Then 4 times 1 is 4 times 3, 12. All over 2 times 1 is 2. Simplifying this further, we have 1 plus or minus square root of 13 all over 2. So simplifying further, we have that, therefore, trying to be mindful of the space, x is equal to 1 plus square root of 13, which is all over 2, which gives us square root of 13 is not straightforward as square root of 4, square root of 16, square root of 25 that we used to do. So we'll use our calculator or mathematical table to determine that. So here we have 1 plus, okay, let's pull out our calculator. We have 13, square root of that is 3.61. 3.61 all over 2. Let's pull another working space here. Therefore, x is equal to 1 plus that is 4.61 all over 2 is, so we pull our calculator again and say plus 1 is this divided by 2 gives us 2.30. 2.30 or 2.3 as the case may be. Okay, or x is equal to 1 minus square root of 13, which is 1 minus 3.61. Borrowing a leaf from what we've done, 1 minus 3 point something, we now use the bigger number 3 point something to subtract 1, we get minus 2.61 all over 2. Then this gives us minus 1 point, then into 6 we have 3, then into this we have 0. Therefore, the values of x that satisfy the equation is equal to 2.3 or minus 1.3. That's the answer. So here it's important to note that it's the same format, the same pattern. The only thing is that the value we have in the bracket, we cannot easily take the square root of that without having it in decimal place. Okay, so with this now, yes, it's allowed to use your calculator or your 4-figure table then to simplify further. So in this case, it will be, the answer will be in decimal form. An equation like this is difficult to solve with factorization method. Finally, we flip over to the next one. Another disguised form of quadratic equation. Here we have 5 plus 1 over x minus 1 over x squared is equal to 0. Okay, so remember here we are looking for an equation like this and not one like this. So we'll now see what we can do to make it to be of this standard form. So here, what do? We have to take the LCM. The LCM of the whole is x squared. So in this case, simplifying the left hand side, taking the LCM of x squared. So what is here? The denominator here is 1. So x squared divided by 1 is x squared times this. We have 5x squared plus, here we have 1 over x. The denominator is x. So x squared divided by x is x. Let's do it here. X squared divided by x. Remember, x squared is x times x all over x. As we go for x, leaving x. So x now times 1 is x minus x squared divided by x squared is 1 times minus 1 will still give us minus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, so here we can eliminate the x squared that is denominator by multiplying both sides by x squared. So either we say multiplying both sides by x squared or we say cross multiplication. Either way, the x squared this side will cancel out, and x squared multiplying 0 here will still be 0. Multiplying both sides by x squared, we have 5x squared plus x minus 1 all over x squared, all multiplied by x squared, is equal to 0 times x squared. What's the essence of this? Because x squared is dividing here, so for us to eliminate it we need to multiply. So this, we go for this, and 0 times x squared, 0 times anything is what? 0. So that gives us peace of mind. X squared plus x minus this is equal to 0. Does this look familiar? Yes, because it is of this form: ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Therefore, simplifying further, we now have that a is equal to 5. Then b is what? What is the coefficient of x? 1. C is what? Minus 1. Okay, so flipping over to the other side, we have, but using the relation x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of what? B squared minus 4 AC all over what? 2a. This gives us, okay, therefore we say, substituting the values, we have, remember that so that we don't miss it, a is what? 5, b, a is 5, b is 1, c is minus 1. B is 1, C is minus 1. Beautiful. So with this, minus B will mean minus 1 plus or minus square root of B squared means 1 squared minus 4A. A is 5, C is minus 1, all over what? 2 times A, then A is 5. So here we need to be mindful of space. We have minus 1 plus or minus square root of 1 squared is 1 minus 4 times 5 is 20. So minus 20 times minus 1 is plus 20, all over 2 times 5 is 10. Owing to the constraints of space, let's push this further. Say this is minus 1 plus or minus square root of 1 plus 20 is 21, all over 10. Square root of 21 is that x is equal to minus 1 plus square root of 21 all over 10, or x is equal to minus 1 minus square root of 21 all over 10. So with this, you simplify further and get your answers. So here is minus 1 plus, what did we get here? 4.58 all over 10. So this gives us minus 1 plus this 4.58 will give us the bigger number minus the smaller number, which is 3.58 over 10. .58 over 10. Then this gives us to 1 decimal place. So if we are to divide 3 by 10, it cannot. We put points, so 0.358. Or this is equal to this, and we have to distinguish our workspace. Then this is minus 1 minus the square root of 21 is still the same thing, 4.58 all over 10. This gives us minus 1 minus 4.58 is minus 5.58. We add, but we remember to put minus before our answer, all over 10. Then this gives us minus 0.558. Equations, these are the values of x that satisfy the equation. X is equal to, for the first one, we can round it off to 4, 0.4, or x is equal to minus 0.6. Okay, I hope we'll be able to pick a few things in this solution. This appears to be more challenging than the rest, but it's still the same concept. The first thing to do is to turn it around, make it to become a standard quadratic equation, then we start solving using the formula method. Now a quick review of what we've done today. So given the quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, which is the standard quadratic equation, the coefficient of x squared is a, the coefficient of x is b, and the constant is c. These are the things we have here. So the first thing in a quadratic equation is to, when you are to solve using quadratic equation formula, is to identify the values of a, b, and c accordingly. Okay, that we have this relation already that x is equal to minus b plus or minus 4ac all over 2a. Please remember that this line extends up to this place. It didn't stop here. If it stopped here, it would have been a different thing altogether. Okay, so this relation means that there are two solutions. Most cases there are two solutions for x depending on the value of the discriminant. The discriminant is what is inside the square root. Okay, so depending on the value of the discriminant, x may have only one equal root, it may have imaginary roots, it may have real roots. Okay, but we'll treat that later. But the main thing here is that because of this plus or minus, most cases x has two values. The first one, x is equal to this relation, we pick only this, then, and the next one is we choose the minus. Okay, so these are the values of x. Then for a typical solution, we have 2x squared plus 3x minus 2 is 0. So comparing this to the standard quadratic equation, we have the coefficient of x squared to be 2, that is a is 2, coefficient of x, which is b, is 3, then the constant is minus 2. So in solving the quadratic equation using the formula method or whatever, mathematics generally, you have to be conscious of your signs. I think that's just the main test here. So here we have minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Then substituting the values of the constants in this, we have b is 3, so we have minus 3 plus or minus square root of b squared, which is 3 squared, minus 4, a is 2, then c is not just 2, c is minus 2. So we plug it in here, we simplify, and we get this. Okay, the next stage, simplifying further, we get the discriminant to be 25. Square root of 25 gives us plus or minus 5. Then we take the plus and solve as one, we take the minus and solve as the other. So these are the values of x that satisfy the equation 2x squared plus 3x minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, so if we move on to example number 2, we have x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Here the coefficient of x squared is 1, which is equivalent to a, then the coefficient of x is 5, then the constant is 6. Plugging this into the formula, we have the discriminant as square root of 1. Here we need to note that the square root of 1 is 1. Then we now take the sum, minus 5 plus 1, then take the difference, minus 5 minus 1. So here we got minus 2 and minus 3 respectively. In example number 3, we have another disguised form of an equation. We have x into x minus 1 in brackets equal to 3. So here we have, opening the bracket, x times x squared minus x times 1 minus x is equal to 3. So here we have x squared minus x, then the 3 bringing it over to the left hand side, we have minus 3 is equal to 0. So with this, it's now of the form of quadratic equation. So we now compare it with this, and in that case we'll now see that a is equivalent of 1 here because the coefficient of x squared is 1 here, then that the coefficient of this is minus 1, then this, then the constant is minus 3. So we plug it into this equation, and on doing that we'll be able to get that the determinant is 13. So if the determinant is 13, then we have 1 plus or minus square root of 13 over 2. Then taking the sum, adding it, we now have 1 plus square root of 13 over 2. We use the calculator to get this value and summed up to get this 2.30 to 2 decimal places. Then solving this further, we got minus 1.30. Therefore 2.3 or minus 1.3 are the values of x that satisfy the equation. So finally we take example number 4, where we have 5 plus 1 over x minus 1 over x squared is equal to 0. So our first task, and that's the most important one here, is to make it to be of this form. How do we do that? By getting the LCM of this relation. Then now we have the denominators are here are 1, x, and x squared. So the LCM is x squared. Then here the x squared divided by 1 gives us x squared times 5. Then we have 5x squared plus x squared divided by x, we have that x is remaining, times 1, we have x is equal to, minus x squared divided by x squared is 1 times minus 1, we have minus 1 is equal to 0. Then that gives rise to this relation over x squared is equal to 0. Then to get rid of the x squared that is denominator, because of sign of equality, whatever we do on the left hand side, we do same on the right hand side. So multiplying both sides by x squared, you know the driver here is to eliminate x squared. So if we do it this way, we have this, then this is equal to 0 times x squared. So working further, we have 5x squared plus 5 minus 1 is equal to 0. A is equal to 5, B is equal to 1, and C is equal to minus 1. Then plugging this into the relation minus B plus or minus square root of B squared minus 4AC over 2A, we have this. We end up having a discriminant that is 21. Then using our calculator, we got it to be 4.58. So taking this plus minus 1 plus the square root of 21 gives us this. We simplify to get this. Then, or when it is minus 1 minus that, we simplify to get that, giving us that the values of x that satisfy the equation is 0.4 and minus 0.6. So this is the solution of quadratic equation using the formula method. I hope you've learned something meaningful. Now we go to the assignment part. Pause the video, copy the assignments, and try your hands on them. You may wish to share your solutions with us through our WhatsApp number 0705 294 6665 or our Facebook page. What most of our students do is, after their solution, they take a snapshot of their worksheets and send it to our WhatsApp page. We'll be glad to look at your solution and help you in any way we can to make sure that you improve in the mastery of mathematics. I hope this video has been informative to you. Thank you for watching. For more information on IVORY GATE, JAMB, SSCE, private home lessons, common entrance tutorials, and computer training, call our numbers today: 0813-710-7935 and 0705-294-6665, or visit our website www.ivorygateonline.com or our Facebook page, IVORY GATE Education Center, Abuja, Nigeria. Thank you for listening.